Good morning everyone. My name is Abhinav Goyal and I'm the Director and Senior Practice Manager of Migration Centre of Australia, MCA for short. Today I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons associated with studying cookery or hospitality in Australia. Now we're going to be looking at the perspective of if your objective is to obtain permanent residency and what might be some other suitable options for it. Now, hospitality and cookery is a very popular course in Australia because a lot of people think it's the best or the easiest pathway towards permanent residency. So let's look at what it entails and talk a little bit more about the qualification and what's required to become a permanent resident should you decide to study that. To study a diploma of hospitality, you also would be required to do a Cert 4 in commercial cookery or kitchen management. Now, that Cert 4 will lead you to diploma of hospitality, and after that, you can try to get a job as a cook or a chef. Now, for a cook, you can actually become a cook after studying a Cert 4, but to become a chef or a chef required at the skill level as per the Australian standards, you would be required to have a diploma qualification. And that's why we encourage everyone to study a diploma if their objective is to become a chef. Now, why should you look at becoming a chef instead of a cook when a cook only requires a Certificate 4? The reason being is that cook is on the short-term occupation and there are less pathways to permanent residency, which makes it a lot more difficult. Chef is on the medium to long-term strategic skill list. That means there are more visa options available that can help you get to permanent residency if that is the objective. Now, as you're required to study a diploma for the chef, right? That is why we recommend doing the Cert 4 and the diploma. Now, all of these requirements are set by something called ANZSCO, which is a government guideline on what an occupation qualification should entail and the requirements in terms of the job descriptions for that particular role. ANZSCO for chef requires that you have a minimum diploma level. Now, that qualification to study can cost you anywhere between approximately $10,000 all the way up to $16,000 per year, which can be quite expensive. Now, does it matter whether you study at a college or institution that is able to offer that same qualification for $10,000? No, not really. All of these qualifications are assessed by the Australian Skill Quality Authority. They have to be approved by them before a college or institution is allowed to deliver those courses. Now, if they've been approved, they all pretty much carry the same value in terms of the certificate itself. But the quality of the education can differ from place to place. And that is what you really need to understand. What would you like to study and where would you like to study? And how much are you willing to spend on the right education for yourself? On the student visa, you are allowed to study for 20 hours per week normally, or 40 hours per fortnight. As of now, there have been leniencies provided where student visa holders are allowed to study for 48 hours per fortnight, which equates to 24 hours per week. Now, this is a great way to manage your living expenses where you're allowed to earn as well as studying. Now, studying a Certificate 4 and a diploma luckily doesn't take up too much of your time, maybe approximately 3 days per week where you're required to attend the course classes itself. And it's very important to meet the attendance requirements. Otherwise, it can be reported to the Department of Home Affairs and your visa can be cancelled, which can have significant consequences. Now, let's talk about the cons of studying a diploma or a course in cookery or hospitality. Australia is known for travel and tourism, but how many opportunities really are there for people genuinely wanting to study this course? How many restaurants are genuinely willing to employ people in occupations such as chefs or maybe cooks or restaurant managers or hotel or motel managers, which requires a higher level of qualification such as a bachelor degree? Not that many, right? So you're competing against thousands of other students, if not tens of thousands of other students across Australia trying to get the same position as you. Now, for the time being, we know that cook is on the short-term list. So there's already limited opportunities. It's only a matter of time before chef also becomes an occupation where it's also difficult to get permanent residency, especially if you're not particularly interested in becoming a chef and trying to pursue that as a career opportunity towards PR. Now, the objective shouldn't be PR. There are many other pathways to permanent residency, and they can all align with what your interests are. If you are truly passionate about being a chef, there can be great opportunities provided to you. Just remember that to be successful as a chef, it requires a lot of extended hours of work. I have personal friends who work in the industry, and they wake up very early mornings to go and get the produce and then stay and work back till very late hours until the restaurant closes. So if that is not for you, there are many other opportunities or courses that can align with your goals and interests to become a permanent resident. So whether you're fueled by a passion for culinary arts or see Australia as your future home, a course in cookery or hospitality might just be a golden ticket. Or maybe not. Choose what you find best and let us know in the comments what course you're interested in.